Hi, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Bramble Fox using one of the new titles from the April Fox box. Also going to add in a couple of older products. I've got some older perspectives and also Fox cut number 53, I think it is, and that lovely feathered stencil. I'm starting my layout off with a little sketch I drew myself. Bramble Fox sell these adorable little notepads, and they are perfect for doodling some sketches on. So I was in the mood for hexagons, so I've just drawn myself there on my pad a little sketch, and I'm going to follow that quite closely. And I'm using the new Simple Vintage Life in Bloom collection from Simple Stories. That Good Life perspective, the acrylic colour, just really made me think of this collection. And of course it's nice and new, so I couldn't resist having a play with it. Love how it matches that blue patterned paper there and some of the florals and butterflies, so lovely together. So I've cut my hexagons using some metal dies in different sizes. So my photo is the largest. Then I've mounted that with a sheet of white cardstock just to give it a frame and a bit of separation from the background. And I've added a layer of pink cardstock behind that as well. I was going to go for the turquoise colour, but I've got the perspective sat right by my photo, so I thought it would be a bit much. So I've gone for accents of that colour instead. So I've used pink behind my photo. And as you can see, it's coming together really quickly because I've got that sketch. I knew what I was going to do. Then I've got that lovely black floral hexagon, is slightly smaller than my photo. And then I'm getting smaller again. I've got that blue hexagon and the pink pattern paper. Those are both the same size. And then I've got two teeny tiny ones that I've used as well, just to bring in a little bit of purple because there's a lot of purple in the florals. So I wanted a bit of that as well. And I've printed my photo in black and white because the colours in the photo didn't really work with the collection. There were so many different colours. My little boy's trousers, his coat had like 2 or 3 different colours on it. I've got yellow daffodils, I had green grass, I had the brown bush in the background. There's just too many colours and it just took away from the beauty of the colours in the collection. So I turned my photo into black and white. I love how that looks, especially with the accents of black that appear in this collection. Really loving black and white photos with this one. I've got some florals then. Most of these have been, in fact I think all of them have been fussy cut from patterned papers. Simple Stories have got a floral bits and pieces ephemera pack with this collection. But you can stretch out even further by fussy cutting, and I'd used that pink polka dot paper to cut that hexagon and something from a previous layout, so I'd already cut into that sheet, so I thought I might as well use the reverse of it and use the florals. So I've cut 3 clusters from that, and then I've got that pink flower and a lovely turquoisey flower. Those are cut from a different patterned paper, one of the like cut apart sheets, and then those gorgeous butterflies are cut from another patterned paper. So lots of fussy cutting for this layout. But I've stuck everything together as best I can so that I can now move it on and off the page as one piece because I want to add some mixed media. Now I'm just going through all of my Bramble Fox stencils trying to decide which one to use, and I've gone for my latest favourite, number 53. I think 17 was my favourite for a long time, the lovely starburst design, and it probably in truth still is. But I think this is coming in a close second at the moment. I've used it a few times lately. And just testing out my inks to see which colour works best with that perspective title. So I think in the end I go for a distress ink because I didn't have it in an oxide, and it is peacock feathers, and it works really lovely with that gorgeous colour of that acrylic and the hints of the colour in the layout. So I'm going for the blue tone up in the top right there. Even though I've got that big hexagon in that colour, I felt like I wanted more pink there because I didn't want to use that blue shade behind my title because it was just going to get lost and you wouldn't have seen the title as clearly. So I've gone for the blue at the top. I'm going to clean my stencil off in between, really important, otherwise I'd have ended up with purple. And I'm going to use a pink Distress Oxide that is picked raspberry, and I'm going to use that in the bottom left hand corner, coming out from the hexagons and the florals and where my title is going to sit. So you're still going to see that title over the pink ink, it's not going to get lost at all. And I actually really love how this layout turns out. And it's really simple to use the stencils in this way with dry mixed media. You just need some blending brushes or the Tim Holtz dabbers or those foam dabbers, anything like that. And the ink goes through the stencils really easily and they clean up beautifully. The only thing that doesn't come off of them as well is like stays on ink because that's sort of permanent. But Distress inks and oxides wipe off these stencils perfectly. So it's good as new, ready to use next time. Now I just want to add some splatters, so I'm going to go tone on tone with the same two colours, just adding a little bit of the inks to my packaging, watering it down, and then using a paintbrush to splatter that over the stenciling. And it's not a massive amount of stenciling, some of that will get covered up, but it's just the way it peeks out from behind my florals and my hexagons. It's subtle, but I love the detail and the effect it adds. I just think it makes the layout, and the layout wouldn't have been as pretty without it. So getting everything stuck in place now. I had raised my photo up on foam and then I'd stuck some florals behind it, and I felt like I wanted everything to sit up a little bit off of that background just to cast a bit of a shadow. So I'm actually going to add some large areas of craft foam on the back of it all, and then I can get that stuck in place. And there we go, that's now sorted. I can get my title done. And it goes to show, when you draw yourself out a sketch or you have a plan or something in mind, layouts can actually come together really quickly. I think the real-time footage was 35 minutes long for this layout, so not long at all for me. And that's because I had that little sketch drawn out, so it's super handy. Now, because I've raised everything up on foam again now, I do this so often, I like to have my title overlapping something on the page so that it's not just sat on its own. But by doing that, it means the top part of the top part of my title is going to be raised up on foam, and then the bottom part isn't going to be making contact with my background. So I've added some foam behind my perspective. I just cut some really thin strips, so that will now sit flush on my background. It will have some contact, and I've got a way of sticking it to that background. I'm using my glossy accents as always for my perspective, and I love how that looks against the pink there. It's probably, in fact, it's Bramble Fox colours, isn't it? It's pink and sort of teal, so no wonder I like it so much. But yeah, I just love how that colour looks against the pink, so pretty. And I've got lots and lots of hearts here now. I do tend to buy these and hoard them. I love it when Morag does the mini perspective in hearts and stars. I end up buying them in all different colours, so I've got a big bag of them on the go, and I actually had some blues and pinks to match this layout perfectly. So I think I just add 4 in total. I've got 2 blue and 2 pink, I think, and I'm just adding those around the edge just for a little bit more interest. And I think I'm going to finish off, yeah, by just adding some detail to the top and bottom of the page. I felt like it just looked a little bare and it needed something bold around that edge. So I'm just going through the pattern papers now, trying to see what I can use without cutting into a new sheet. And I've got some of this lovely floral paper left, so it works really nicely because this pattern features in one of my hexagons, so it's nice to have that continuing on the page. And I've just torn into the edge of my cardstock, folded those edges back on themselves at an angle, and then I'm just going to back that empty space with the patterned paper and trim it down, and I love the look that gives. I will distress the edges of the white cardstock as well, but it's just a little pop of black and a bit of colour at the top and bottom. I just think it just finishes the page off nicely without giving the whole page a border. I felt like it needed something, and this is just what it needed, so I love how this layout turned out. And I'm actually going to finish those edges off just with a couple of staples. Some of the pattern papers actually have sort of images of staples through tickets and things like that. So I thought I'd add some staples just for a bit more interest. It goes with the collection quite nicely as well. But that is me done. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the layout and the process, and it gives you some inspiration. Like I said, this title is in the April Fox box, so if you're a Fox box subscriber, it will be on its way to you soon. But thanks for joining me. I will leave some links in the description box for you to our website, to our Foxbox subscription page. We've got the Foxbox and the Foxbox Plus, in which you'll also get a stencil, paper snips and epoxy flare stickers, so the few little extra bits there that you get. And I'll also leave a link to our Bramble Fox Friends Facebook group as well. So do head on and join us if you're not already a member. There's loads of inspiration, not only from the DT, but also from our members and customers as well. We love seeing everybody share their work. So lots going on in there. We've got our monthly challenge and sneak peeks of all the new products. So thanks again, and I will see you next time.